tomorrow.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Gas It Out. That's it. The summer is over. It's done for. We now have a long slog to the end of the World Championship. But the good thing is MotoGP is on a knife edge. There are so many riders in with a shout of victory. The top 5 covered by less than the cost of a race win. And there's lots to look forward to in the final 11 rounds of the championship. Starting this weekend with the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. And to preview it, this week, I am pleased to say that I am joined by 2 very special guests, Sylvain and Neil Hodgson. It's great to have you both along for the ride. Of course, both world champions, both ridden at British level as well. Know this track very well indeed. Sylvain, Neil, how are you? Are you disappointed to see the back of summer, Neil? You know, get to come back to the mainland?
Do you know what? I've had such a good break. I feel totally refreshed and I'm genuinely excited for Silverstone, which, you know, it's like when you're in the hustle and bustle of the season, sometimes you do have that, let's say, lull in enthusiasm ever so slightly. There are times you question the excitement level going to an event, but I am genuinely super pumped, as the Americans say, I think, Gav.
Wow.
I'm super pumped for Silverstone. So hang on, just enjoy this moment whilst I'm positive and enthusiastic. You know, guys, you know better than anyone, it won't last.
If we'd have asked him, Sylvain, on Sunday, can you imagine on Sunday night when we were at Berlin Airport in Germany, if you'd have asked him, let's have Silverstone next week, do you imagine, Sylv, what his response would have been at that moment? Because he was a grumpy old son.
Oh, he was a bit grumpy, wasn't he? And it does happen sometimes. We all get moments, don't we? And to be fair, I mean, Saxon Ring, if you're going to pick a moment where you've got to be grumpy after Saxon Ring, it's just such a rubbish track, isn't it, really, for GP? Now we're coming back to a proper track, proper GP track. I know Silverstone, like, over the years, as an event, maybe, let's say, it could be improved, but as a track, and usually the racing as well is usually quite good. I mean, we normally get some good battles, so weather looks good. And after a little break, I think we're all happy to get back together, aren't we?
Yeah, does the weather look good though? Because I mean, we've got a group chat amongst all of us on TNT Sports and Nat Quirk. As she's Nat's news. She brings the news to the party. She announced it was the 10-day window where you could see 10 days ahead what was going to be at Silverstone, and it was beautiful, sun across the board. I looked a couple of days ago and a few clouds and a bit of rain, and I've come back to Leeds. I was actually not too far away from it on sort of summer holiday, and came back to Leeds. It started raining here, and I've looked at the weather and I'm thinking, oh no, it's not going to be one of those. It looks fine, but fingers crossed it is. I thought, Neil, that Nat had put the kibosh on it, to be honest, as soon as she sent that message out.
Well, that's why I replied straight away going, we know, you know the rules. You can't do that. You can't do a long weather forecast prediction and post it, because that's going to curse it. So if it rains this weekend, blame Nat Quirk, definitely.
Yeah, without a doubt. Listen, before we get into previewing the British Grand Prix, and it is one that should cause a little bit of excitement and titillation for the fans at home. We've had 11 different winners in the last 11 editions. I would say last 11 years, but you take out COVID, take out cancellation in 2018. But you go back the last 11 races, 11 different winners. All the manufacturers have, pretty much run out successful there. Not KTM, but, the other Suzuki won there as well, if you remember, with Alex Rins and Maverick Viñales. But there are a few bits to get into, aren't there? Little bits of news before we head into the Grand Prix. And the big one, the talking point, the one that everyone has on the tip of their tongue at the moment, is the fact that Paul Espargaró is coming in to replace Maverick Viñales at the British Grand Prix. The team sent out a little press release earlier on. We are recording this on Tuesday. We were discussing it actually with the team about, is it going to be official? When's it going to be announced? And they've released that information. There had been a lot of discussion, hadn't there, chaps, about whether Maverick was even going to complete the season. Maverick had already put out his own statement about that, saying, I've been reading articles about this, but he's been in the Red Bull Athlete Performance Centre. The press release goes on essentially to say that there are still problems with his shoulder. His supraspinatus has fully healed. He's got a small tear in the infraspinatus. I might come to you, Sylvain, because you seem always so clued up on these medical issues. I know, Neil, you've had your shoulder problems before, but it goes back to something that we said, when was it? Was it last year? In pretty much after Sachsenring, don't rush coming back from this.
We did.
You take your time. Sylvain, it's almost as if this was predicted a year on and he's missing a race again because of a shoulder problem.
I know, what a nightmare! Another shoulder injury that is making a rider's life a nightmare, and this is what it does. Shoulder injuries, they are normally there forever, and in the base case scenario, you're going to still feel them, and you're still going to be able to ride okay. But any riders that had shoulder injuries, they know it's gonna take time, and potentially it's end of career. That's the reality of it. And yeah, last year we mentioned it. Maverick Viñales came back really early from a very heavy shoulder injury, and he's still paying the price for it. It's such a shame because it came at a time as well last year where he was basically the fastest KTM rider when that happened last year. He was doing so well on that bike. And unfortunately, he's ruined the full year, and now he's having to be replaced after the summer break for more recovery time. So, yeah, it's sad to see because obviously we've not really seen Maverick Viñales as we expected. We expected a lot after the speed that he showed at the start last year. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And then, there's those rumours as well with is he going to finish the season? Obviously, he's brushed that off and said, yeah, I will finish my contract, but it looks like it's going to be retirement time for Maverick at the end of the year. So, yeah, sad to see, but unfortunately, shoulder injuries and riders, many riders have ended up their careers like this. Yeah,
got the T-shirt, haven't you, Neil Hodgson? As far as that's concerned, the problem regarding the rest of the season and those rumours circling is there's form, isn't there, for Maverick? A bit of a fractious split with Aprilia at the time. Obviously, the massive one was Yamaha. And then the comments that were coming out while we were in Germany and in Assen, these comments about KTM, well, if I haven't got a contract next year, well, we know who to blame. It's all down to KTM. These sorts of things throw logs on the fire, don't they? They are like not just, logs, it's petrol put on the fire of what has become of Maverick Viñales' career.
Yeah, and he's done it all through his career, Gav, hasn't he? That's what basically we are saying. You've got to be, unless you're winning everything, if you're in, let's say, you're controlling the situation, you have the power, you can get away with loose comments, negative comments towards the person that pays your wage, essentially, every month. You send an invoice off and they pay it. So when you're in a position that he's in, and if you think about it, everything you just said, when we saw the crash, I remember when we saw the crash, then we got the report of the injury. We said, this is whilst we're still at Sachsenring, let's hope he doesn't rush back from it. And it was almost textbook doing everything wrong. Now, I don't know if he's poorly advised, coming back too soon, everything that went with it, a little bit of bad luck as well. But the reality is, we are where we are now, like I said, just over a year on, and he's still missing races. I mean, I don't know what you two feel about this, but genuinely, it's an absolute no-brainer. You wouldn't want to sign him on a 2-year deal to continue representing your brand. He's damaged goods. You look at his age, he's 31. You look at percentage-wise, is he probably third or fourth oldest rider in MotoGP, there or thereabouts. You're getting to the end. He's had a long career. It's not... Oh, and then you've got the negative aspect of him being a bit of a machine gun with the press, scattering whatever he thinks on that day, which works against you. So, I mean, I feel a bit sorry for him, but wow, what a career! If this is the end at the end of the year, it'd be nice to see him finish the year with them. It'd be nice to see him try and... We said this, I don't know if we said it during the podcast, but we chatted about this. As a rider, the only way you can attack back, fire back, defend yourself is by results. That's your currency. So if you're backed into a corner, if you're in a position where you think you're going to lose an opportunity, lose your ride, what do? You dig in and you get the best results. And you go to the rest of the world, look, I've still got it, I am fast, and I'm available. But obviously, Maverick's not been able to do that, and he's not done that. I mean, in Sachsenring, it was embarrassing. When he pulled in, he was 10 seconds behind Crutchlow. You know, I mean, we were shaking our heads, weren't we? So,
and it leads us, doesn't it, Neil, in that situation, to speculate, because that shouldn't be happening, injury or no injury, and that's no shade on Cal whatsoever. That shouldn't be happening. He's not been that far off all year to suddenly then find himself that far back. If there is a problem with the injury or he's aggravated something, fine. But then it's naturally going to lead to speculation, given what's happened in the past.
Yeah, exactly. And it is like, because we said it, obviously we finished commentating, then we talked about Maverick and we were like, here we go again. With exactly like he's done in the past. So with the negative comments, with the results, with the obvious injury, I mean, like I said, KTM have held on. If you look at it, they have actually held on for quite some time to just see where he was at, because we all know a fit Maverick in a good place is a fast Maverick. But there's no sand left in the egg timer. Time's run out. They, as you understand, Tech 3, KTM, they have to make some decisions before they lose the opportunities of the riders they're talking to. So, yeah, I think they've been fair. I really do. And it's rare you say that about KTM. If you look at KTM's past, it's been a bit checkered, hasn't it, really? They've been hard on some of their riders that have not achieved. But this doesn't feel like that. It just feels like, yeah, it all makes sense. I'm not surprised, are you?
No. And all of us know he is, as you've said it just moments before, one of the fastest riders out there on his day. Yeah. There's no luck involved in him being a 10-time MotoGP race winner. You know, he's been a championship challenger, that kind of thing. However, he's been in positions where he might have challenged for the championship and it's never quite materialised. And someday he will probably look back at certain opportunities that were there in front of him, look at himself in the mirror and think, maybe I didn't make the most of those. Maybe that I torched opportunities that were there.
Do you know what, Gav? Or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll retire and he'll think, do you know what? I had a good career and I was shafted a little bit, to be honest. It didn't go, I wasn't lucky in these situations. It's funny, however you perceive a certain situation, however you spin it in your own mind. And also, I always say, you need to have good people around you telling you the truth, telling you the hard conversations. And it just appears that he's been slightly, let's say, throughout his career, slightly mismanaged. And I don't know why that is. I don't know who manages him or his, let's say,
it was Aki once upon a time, wasn't it? But, it was Aki. And then obviously I do believe he's separated from his wife at the moment. You know, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. These sorts of things which just make life even harder than it already is, and being a MotoGP rider, you guys can testify, is a challenge at the best of times. So anyway, let's hope we do see him back. We all have to say we don't want him to find his career ending like this, because it's quite. I wonder
what he's going to do if let's say KTM run him out to the end of the year. Then what's he going to do? Because in that statement he mentioned something about I'm not going superbikes. No, it seems it's a big statement for a 31-year-old, isn't it? You're like, a lot of your life ahead of you. He could have 5 or 6 years, really good years in superbikes, and love it. Obviously a lot less busier schedule. Obviously less travel. Everything that goes, as we know, everything that goes with superbikes. I think he'd love it, and he'd be so impressive. So yeah, maybe he'll change his mind.
Yeah, you never know. And maybe he just didn't realise that this was a full-on situation, not willing to accept it. You've said before, though, Neil, he won't be poor. As in, he's not someone who will have to work another day if he didn't want to. But you do feel like he still says all the time that he feels like he's still got a lot to give. I wouldn't mind being a few quid behind him, put it that way. You wouldn't mind, would you? I mean, definitely he'll have done all right. Other things that have been happening, Sylvain, we had announcement that no Fermin Aldeguer still recovering from that injury, from that nasty crash he had in Assen. Iker Lecuona was coming back. He's just announced he's got another 2-year deal for the Ducati factory team. We don't know who's going to be his teammate there. There's sort of rumours abounding about that. But Sylvain, first of all, just on Lecuona coming across again for Grassini. Hey, he stood in really well, didn't he, for Alex Marquez when we saw him at Balaton?
Obvious choice. I mean, he did so well in Balaton. He was actually very impressive in Balaton. Nobody expected him there. He was fighting. He was only a few tenths off. He was fighting in the top 10. Just great qualifying. Very impressive, Lecuona. So yeah, he's managed to bounce back at Ducati, extend his contract in World Superbikes, and he's a completely obvious choice for Silverstone as a replacement rider. He did so well in Balaton. Now, that's not good news for Altogether because, he's, with the fractured femur that took him, and he's actually not 100% recovered from that. He still walks funny off that. And that massive crash in Assen, breaking his back, we know that takes time, and that's a painful, you always get like injuries around the muscles as well when you have that kind of fracture. So yeah, for Altogether, that's not ideal at all. But I'm looking forward to see what Lecuona can do. He's been so impressive in Balaton. You can't put anything past him. I think he's going to be in the mix again. So yeah, he's actually currently with Paul Espargaró on the KTM. He's like the best replacement rider that you could put on your bike. Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah, and just about Lecuona there. We talked about him extending there for Ducati for a couple of seasons in World Superbike. There's a lot of tension going on there, isn't there? Who might be his teammate? Will it be a seat swap between Franco Morbidelli and Nicolo Beluga, or will Manu Gonzalez be forced into a move across to World Superbike if, as the rumours are true, that Senna just gets the nod at Tech 3 and Luca Marini gets the nod there as well? That's suddenly become a seat that everyone's desperate to be on.
Yeah, I mean, getting the factory World Superbike ride, replacing Beluga is the golden ticket. The Ducati in World Superbikes, the new Panigale that they've brought out, just exceptional, as we've seen. It's dominating around the world, isn't it? Any championship it's entered. So to join that factory team, like I say, you know you're going to fight for a world title. So it'd be just weird if just the thought of Gonzalez winning the Moto2 championship. I know he's not done yet, and he's still half a season to go. But the thought of him winning the Moto2 championship and going to World Superbikes is he 23 or 24? Yeah. A young man. It does seem a bit wrong, doesn't it? But anyway, he's down for that. Then Frankie Morbidelli.
The right thing to do there, Neil. If he doesn't get a MotoGP ride, it's basically another 2 years. It's another 2 years of waiting. All the riders will be on 2-year deals. So you'd seriously consider doing that. And that could be your way to come back to MotoGP in 2 years' time. After 2 good years in World Superbike. So it would make sense for Gonzalez as a sort of like a second option if he's not getting a MotoGP ride.
And he knows Pirelli's. It's not a shot in the dark. He knows the World Superbike paddock. He's no stranger to it. It's not like someone who's having to relearn everything all over again. There'll be some synergies there, won't there?
Yeah, one of the things that Superbikes are swapping to Michelin next year.
So of course, yeah.
That's going to be interesting, isn't it? I'm quite intrigued to see how that pans out because we know the Michelins feel so different. So
and the new regulations, the rev limits as well that are being brought in. There's a bit of a pathway. They're trying to change things, allowing up to 1,200 in a couple of years' time. And
they need to do something.
They need to do something, don't they? Yeah. So these are all the things that are happening behind the scenes there. Other bits and pieces just to touch on, so you're up to date before we preview the Silverstone race, is last year's race winner over at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Marco Bezzecchi's back out and on a motorcycle. He said he had butterflies in his stomach riding the Aprilia road bike out on track earlier this week. And Sylvain, after having had surgery, that's encouraging, isn't it, for Bezzecchi, that he's able to get back out onto the motorcycle. And he still will have to pass a medical, though, on Thursday at the track.
Yeah, declared unfit after that Saxon ring crash and that collarbone fracture. It's normally pretty straightforward collarbones where you get it plated or screwed back on, and so he's at 3 weeks in. So that's enough time to recover properly and be very, very close to 100%. So with Bezzecchi, I think it's more going to be about how can he sort of bounce back from this nightmare few rounds that he had. I mean, he started the season so well, so strong, We've said it, like leading every lap in the first 3 Grand Prix. That was just unbelievable. And then it all anything that could have happened to him. So the downward spiral. So this is the most important thing. I think physically he's going to be there, but it's going to be about how is he mentally? How does he feel? Is the confidence back, and can he turn around? This sort of downward spiral that he had. I mean, what a nightmare. And the championship is still very much open for him. And we know the Aprilia now works everywhere on every single track. And actually, in Silverstone, on paper, the Aprilia should be the best bike to be on. Be good. So,
and he won there last year,
should
didn't
be really good.
He won the Grand Prix there last year. Yeah. So that's going in his favour. Yeah. Like you say, like physically, I think he'll be all right physically, but it's mentally where he's at. But what a track to be going to, a track that you'd have to say was almost designed for an Aprilia motorcycle. And when you've won there the year before, it's like Sylvain, when you go back to a track you've won on previously, especially the year before, you go there with the spring in your step, it feels easy. Everything just comes easier. So that's going to work out well for him.
If he doesn't do well, though, if he doesn't do well in Silverstone, that's going to be a big problem. Because, like you said, Neil, he'll be expecting to be strong there. He's won there last year. That confidence will be there, and he'll be thinking, right, this is it. I've had the summer break. I'm physically, I'll be thinking, I'm okay, and this is the time to turn things around. So if he doesn't turn them around there, then I would say he's in big trouble.
Yeah. Hey, Gav, sorry, rumour-wise, also, I would literally looking on I think it call it on the gram just before we did this pod, and it was saying that Miller's going to head the World Superbike Yamaha squad for next year. It's the first time I've seen it written down. Don't remember, it's not official, but it's one of those, I can't remember which one it was, but one of those sites that normally get it right, and that would make sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know the Yamaha's not competitive at the moment in World Superbikes, but like you've just said, they are really looking at tweaking the rules to make it more competitive for all the non-Ducati manufacturers.
A lot of rumours as well, Neil, about Brad Binder potentially going to replace to Honda, to BMW, to
BMW.
To replace Danilo Petrucci. Yeah, I was going to say. I thought you heard something else there. I thought, how is this off the press from Neil? BMW. The old KTM lineup, Oliveira and Brad Binder to line up there at BMW, which I think
that'd be solid.
I think that'd be a decent fit, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That's a strong pairing. That would be.
In World Superbikes, I thought I told somebody else's name was down for Honda. I can't remember who. Oh, maybe it's Rins. He's another one who's going to be out on a ride.
Rins was after a Ducati.
He's not stupid.
Ducati. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's not daft, isn't Alex Rins? To be fair to him, no.
No, that's true.
I think imagine Alex Rins on a private, even if it's a private Ducati, even if they don't offer him the factory one, he could still be really strong. I mean, Alex Rins is a very good rider. He's really good. He's underrated.
Another British Grand Prix winner, of course. When we get into discussing that in a second.
Yeah,
that was an absolute cracker, wasn't it? I just want to recap all the news before we go back. We know when our first Grand Prix is going to be next year as well. Thailand has been announced as the season opener, which I'm surprised at because we thought it might be going back to Qatar. But I suppose there's a lot of doubts, aren't there, at the moment, whether we'll even get to Qatar this year. And so it'll be our third year in a row that the season will open in Thailand, March 5th to the 7th. So if anyone fancies it, I have to say it's a great event to go to. I have to say, in terms of fans that turn up there, I wouldn't say Buriram is. He's not, anyone who's been on holiday to, you go to, beach holidays, your Koh Taus and Koh Phangan, those kinds of places, or Phuket or wherever. It's not quite that, is it, in Buriram? But I have to say, it's a decent track for an opening race of the season. So we know that we're going back to Thailand, which is a good little bit of news. And it's also, everyone was, Marc Marquez is back in training. We saw Pedro Costa over at NASCAR. We saw people out on their boats, Jorge Martin, Alex Marquez. Also, Cal Crutchlow on his boat on the Isle of Man was one of my highlights of the summer. Cal.
He saw Cal won the internet that day. He saw won the whole thing. He's like, Cal, you can have it. Buy a mile. He lapped everybody on that day.
Yeah.
That was so funny. Yeah, well done, Cal. Right. That was really good.
Absolutely superb, wasn't it, to see him in a little dinghy? Everyone posting on their yachts over summer. What did he say? Just wanted to share my yacht picture over the summer break like the other riders. Sorry I didn't take my top off to tense my abs. It was too cold. Well, you'll be able to tell us, Neil, because you've been there as well. Right, come back...
Weather's been amazing.
Well, it's been amazing, yeah. When we come back from the breaks, we're going to be discussing the British Grand Prix and a chance, if you are in the UK, to maybe go and meet some MotoGP riders before the weekend. We'll be back in just a second. Welcome back to Gas It Out Part 2. We're going to discuss the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Now, I love the racing at Silverstone. I love the racetrack itself. The fan experience is not something I can testify to. A lot of people don't seem necessarily that happy. I know there's been a bit of a push this year to get people along to the British Grand Prix. So much so, actually, while we're starting with it, I'm going to be involved. Oh, where are we? There we are, at the Outernet on Thursday morning. The MotoGP taking over London. So it's the Outernet where they had the showing of the Dutch TT at the end of June. We're going to have the press conference there. I'm going to be hosting it, and you as fans can turn up with free entry to come down to their Tottenham Court Road. It is. Loads of massive screens there as well, so we'll be broadcasting the press conference from there. We have got Cal Crutchlow's going to be there, Marco Bezzecchi, Iagora, Pedro Acosta and Diogo Moreira in for that one. So a little shout out for that ahead of the weekend. And look, chaps, as we've mentioned before, we can't really testify to the fan experience, but we come from a racing point of view, and there's no doubt about it. I'll start with you, Neil, on that Silverstone itself it's the longest racetrack on the calendar. So it's a challenge in that, it's a long 20-corner circuit, but it's one of the fastest racetracks that we go to on the whole MotoGP calendar.
Yeah, it's really wide, like you say, fast and flowing. It's one of the really rare tracks you ride around on a MotoGP bike, and it doesn't feel fast. The bike doesn't feel fast because it's so vast, so wide, so flowing. So even though you've got all these incredibly fast corners, it feels weirdly slow. So, and it will feel even more so after riding around Sachsenring, which is the polar opposite, obviously, narrow track, tight, turning all the time. So yeah, do you know what? When I think about Silverstone, it's so hard to call what sort of weekend we're going to have. It throws up so many unknowns. There's been so many crazy incidents that happen there. You see some fast crashes. We've had tyre issues over the years, cold tyre issues. Obviously, we had the year where everything was washed out. I was watching earlier. I watched the highlights of the Grand Prix from last year, which was carnage, wasn't it?
Wild.
Obviously, it was just wild. It starts with Alex Marquez crashing at turn 1 on lap 1, cold tyre. Then Mark crashes a few laps later, headbutts the safety, whatever it was.
Was it first lap? It was first lap, wasn't it? And then that brought out a red flag. And then
red flag, yeah.
A restart.
And it was just. And do you know what? I watched that restart, and I was watching where Bez was, because I'm thinking Bez isn't even on the first 3 rows. And Bez tips into turn 1 in about what looks like about 12th. It was lower back than mid-pack because a few people didn't start. It was like just a crazy race. Obviously, Quartararo ended up running away with it, but then he didn't. Obviously, the lowering ride-out device got stuck, so that was him out. And it's just a weird old place, is Silverstone. It's a great track to ride around. It creates interesting racing. But it's like, for example, if we were going to Jerez, you sort of know what's going to happen, don't you? When we go to Aragon in 2 weeks' time, we sort of know what's going to happen. I can picture what's going to happen there, and I know who's going to be your favourites. Here, it's you have to have a stab at it, have a guess, because it's hard to call, which is good. I mean, I like it like that, but it's a bit of a weird one.
Last year, though, the big thing last year was that it was cold, and there was that really, really cold wind. And that's why we had so many issues with riders, not getting the tyres to work properly. That front tyre with the Ducati, for example, didn't work at all somehow. with the Ducatis. They really struggled all weekend. So yeah, I don't think we're going to get that this weekend. I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think everybody's going to be able to use it. It looks like on the forecast that it will be, warmer, like in the day at least. Night is going to be a bit cold, like fresh morning, but in the day it's going to be much better. And I hope the weather is good as well, because we've had such good weather. I always get, like, the French come up to me and they always go, because the weather normally is quite good in the summer, and then it's always rubbish for whenever the Grand Prix is. And they come up to me and they go, how do you leave it? How do you do this? This is terrible. The weather is rubbish. And I always have to sort of like defend the British weather and say, I swear to you, it's not like that all the time. It's just for the Grand Prix. It's rubbish for the Grand Prix. But this year looks like we're going to get good weather. So hopefully that helps with the numbers as well at the track. Because honestly, the racing is so good in Silverstone, and I really wish that there is a lot of sort of negative comments about the race itself, and we've got it is a great track to ride. We get good racing, and I feel like it wouldn't need much to be like a much bigger event. I mean, look at what they've done in F1. They had more than 500,000 people over the weekend, and I feel like this event is could be growing. So I hope we get more people with good weather, and I hope they do a bit of a better job at entertaining the people at the track, and make it a really good event, because there is a public in UK for motorcycle racing and for MotoGP. People do love it. So yeah, I hope we get a bit more of atmosphere this weekend.
I often feel, Neil, sorry, just to go in on that,
go on.
Cost is one of those things, isn't it? That's one of those things where BSB's always placed itself really well in terms of how much a weekend costs. I know Alton at the weekend.
Have you looked at the ticket price? Do you know how much is it? Is it expensive again?
Yeah, for the Sunday one, I do believe it's one of the most expensive that there is. Obviously,
right.
I can't tell. As I say, for the fan experience, it's hard for us to grasp it, isn't it? Because we don't have to do it. We've got paddock passes. We drive through, we park where we do.
Flying in the helicopter and eat prawn sandwiches all weekend.
Shit.
No, but it's funny, because when I was going to say then was I watched BSB at the weekend at Alton Park, and it was rammed, and you could see the campsites were full and the atmosphere looked good. But then when you think, if I'm a fan and I'm going to watch a race, like the thought of watching at Alton Park, where you literally can touch the riders as they go past, and it's not Silverstone's fault that it's a super safe track, and the grandstands are so vast, but you are quite a long way back from the action.
Sat up the grandstands. We have to be raised up, because it was an airfield. Go around the edge of an airfield. It's flat. It's flat as a pancake. Yeah,
exactly. But then all that said, they fill it for Formula One, so it's like. There are a lot, as we know with our viewing figures, there are a lot of motorcycle racing fans in the UK. It's just a shame that they'll probably only get about 50,000 on race day, maybe even less. I don't know. Let's hope not, but we will see.
Look, and if there's anything to encourage people to get there, we have had some belters, haven't we, over the years? You mentioned last year as well. It was crazy in itself, but you think back to all the people who have won over the years. Whether that Lorenzo Marquez had a fantastic battle there, Valentino Rossi winning there, 11 different winners. The Alex Rins and Marc Marquez is one of the all-time most GP great races. Pinching his pocket having gone the one way the lap previously, and then gone the other on the final lap. I thought it was just absolutely, one of the all-time greats without it. But 11 different winners. I don't want to go back to the quiz, but trying to name those 11. I was trying to do it earlier. Couldn't really get even that far back.
What quiz?
The quiz. Yeah,
the one you lost.
Silva remembers it.
Quiz.
Silva's been crowing about it constantly since last.
Did you see? I put on Instagram today. I spoke to Steve Day yesterday, just having a catch up with him after Alton Park, and he went, "Listen, don't give me a load of hassle over this, but I've done the quiz and I got 19 points. What did you get, Sylvain? Was it 14? 14 and a half?"
11 and a half.
Was it about?
No, it was worse than that. 11 something. 11 and a half. I'm not surprised though by Steve, because he would get.
I said that.
I'm not surprised. He is good, isn't he? He knows. He's a bit like you, Gav. He knows everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't. He's going, don't like give me a hassle, but honestly, I got 19. I'm like, no, I bet you did. I'd like say that doesn't surprise me. But have you read any of the comments, Gav? What other people got?
Yeah, and everyone seemed to enjoy it in general. Most people challenge themselves. A few people beat the experts. A lot of people didn't. I didn't want it to be one of those where it's obvious. It's easy to get 25 out of 25. By the same token, you don't want it to be one where everyone gets 0 out of 25. So I think it was. I think it was all right. I know the odd one out. A couple of people have said, "Oh, the odd one out could have been anything." I know, but it was all. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah,
it's trying to have a little bit of fun.
It's a bit of fun.
Honest, it's not real. It's not.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed trying to find the answers to questions that you know the answer to. There's a couple of people said, "Oh, Pecco Bagnaia won from outside of the." Oh, sorry, it was on the podium. Remember, he was promoted to the podium with the tyre pressure penalty of Joan Mir. He qualified 13th, but on the restart, on the third restart, he started 10th because of everyone that was missing. So there we are. So
that's what you're dealing with you, Gav. This is the attention to detail.
And anyway, I hope people enjoyed it. Maybe we'll do one at the end of the year.
I'm doing one. I'm doing one for you two cretins.
No, maybe I'll do one at the end of the year to see. Neil, you might have to redeem yourself. I tell you what, if you spend the rest of the season, I'm going to advise you, if you get a clipboard and you write down the results as they happen, something like that, I reckon there's a good chance that by the end of the year you might know what actually what's been going on.
All about questions about Marc Marquez, and you'll be able to win that one. Then you'll know.
I'm in.
You'll get 25 out of 25.
Quiz.
Yeah. Who won the 125 race in 2010
in Magellan?
It'd be Marc Marquez. That was his first win.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry, right. Kind of such a fanboy.
You know all of his stats. That's why we had to veer away from it. Anyway, I do hope if you haven't joined in on the quiz, you can still do so. Remember to look, as always, Gas It Out Pod on Instagram and on YouTube. And again, we welcome your comments. And I'm sure there are some questions that weren't necessarily phrased the best. But, I was on holiday. I was in my camper van. It wasn't easy. I can't believe it worked. We have more trouble when we're here with the connection and issues than we did when I was doing it out of the back of a van in the middle of the Cotswolds.
Just on another note, quickly, what T-shirt have you got on there? Have you been sleeping in that, Gav? I know that's not ideal for the audio. Oh, that's all right. Looks better now. It was all pulled down at the front.
I know, I pulled it down.
I was like, what are you doing? Looks like you got a dressing gown. Not a dressing gown, like a nightie. One of Kate's nighties.
Is that as well? Yeah. I wore it because I had my ears lowered earlier. Like, Neil, it looks, for those who are watching on the YouTube, what's happened?
Well, I went to a new barber's.
What is that, Neil?
Oh my God.
Did you upset him? Had you not paid him or something?
Where I normally go in Douglas, they were full because I never booked. So I just thought, I can't wait. So I went to this Turkish barber's that looked really good, but I've been skinned. Yeah, this will be a good haircut in 2 weeks from now, I think.
Sure,
that's my plan.
Sure,
well, sure. That's what I keep telling myself. My wife just went, oh dear.
We got
give me a lot of confidence.
We got a comment in actually about the British Grand Prix. I just wanted to refer to Riley Davis, who's been in contact with us before. He's doing commentary on the Fab Racing Series, little bikes that they use for the kids. They're at the British Grand Prix on the new kart circuit on the inside of Brooklands throughout the weekend. So a chance to see some British talent there. The British Talent Cup are on. Obviously, there's the baggers there with Harley Davidson. There's a British Supersport event as well, isn't there? Over the weekend as a bit, there is a lot. There's going to be a lot going on the track. And actually, Riley did say
Moto 4 as well. I think
that's in the British Talent Cup.
Moto 4.
Well, I call it. Sorry, I call it the British Talent Cup. Yeah. So it's on the kart track, and just a few talents. So thanks for Riley for getting in touch. He said, could we just do a little plug for it? And I thought that's fair enough. Chance for people to go and have a look at some of the young talents. Chaps, on Silverstone, I just want to get into a little bit of the nitty gritty of what makes the track special itself. Should we do that? Should we have a little break and come back, and we'll just touch on a couple of final things about Silverstone, and then we'll get into what makes Silverstone special. We're back in a sec. It's the final part of Gas It Out. I just want to get into a little bit more of the detail about the Silverstone circuit. This is my track map from last year. It's busy, isn't it? There's so much going on. Got to remember as well now that we do start in a different part of the circuit. We're back onto the international pit straight, with the wing down there. So Abbey's turn 1, club corner, final corner, as it has been for Formula One. But, we've been starting over the years with Copse corner as our first corner. 18 corners on the racetrack, 10 to the right, 8 to the left. The longest track, 3 2/3 of a mile, longest track there is on the whole MotoGP calendar. Neil, did you enjoy it as a racetrack?
Do you know what? It's like the perfect track. I was just looking at it. It just got that right balance. Like when you've got plenty of corners that open out, you've got lovely little technical sections to create great passing. So like it turns 3 into Village, obviously it's a dive bomb section. All that section's dive bomb, because if you dive bomb someone into turn 3, you normally go wide, then you have a chance into the next corner, into the loop. Then you go through the fast corner of Aintree that opens out, down that Wellington straight. There's a passing opportunity into Brookland. And then the fast part of Woodcote. Then Copse, the old first corner is such a tricky corner. That's off camber, which feels weird. You always feel like you're going to lose the front there. And then you go flat out towards the Beckett's change of direction,
Chapel.
which is super physical. So much going on. And then you've got to make sure you're good out of Chapel onto the longest part, the long straight, the hanger straight. Then there's a chance of passing into Stowe. Then if you get a good run out of Stowe, you can dive bomb someone into the next chicane. It's the perfect balance. It's really wide. The only thing it lacks, 2 things probably, is some nice bank corners. It's all really flat. And actually elevation change, because there's no elevation change, because it's, like you said, it's an old runway.
There's a little drop down into Vale. That's about it, isn't it? I forgot about that. But that's about as big as it gets. Yeah, if you could create some big elevation changes, it'd be probably one of the best tracks in the world. Well, it is one of the best. It's up there, but that's all it's lacking. I love it. Yeah, Sylvain, how about yourself? Sorry, what's going to make it work this weekend? What you're going to have to need rolling on your bike to make it work?
Well, what I really like the most about this, as a rider, but also as a part of the TNT gang, is that this is a good track for racing. It's a track with, like Neil described, of like corner by corner, but overall you got so many opportunities to overtake, so many opportunities to sometimes get close and put pressure on the rider, make him compromise a little bit his exit because he's got to defend and then attack at the next corner. So there's loads of places like that where you can make the pass count, and that's why we've seen spectacular racing over the years. I mean, we've seen passes. I mean, like the Alex Rins pass on Marquez in the last corner, over the line. That was just unreal. And we see that. We saw it last year. I think it was Marquez attacked Morbidelli for the podium at Vale, in the last lap and took some risks. So some risk and made it count. So you can see that. And we usually see great racing. As a rider, I used to love it because you've got the corner speed feel. You've got the fact that you are in a place that's got space and you can stretch the legs of the MotoGP bikes. I did the last time I raced there with the GP bikes was I can't remember which year. It was the same year as when Rins won. So I replaced Joan Mir that was injured. That had an injury there, and I just loved it so much. 2019. That's it. And it was such a great track to be on with the GP bike because you can use all the power. You can really feel that bike, in the higher gears, like pushing and pushing. You can feel all the power. So it is a beautiful track to ride. A track that is adapted to MotoGP and a track where we see good racing. So I'm really excited and looking forward to it. I think this year like I explained earlier, because we're gonna get warmer temperatures. I think it's going to be closer, and the Aprilias, we're going to get an Aprilia versus Ducati type of thing. Pedro Acosta might be there as well. So yeah, I'm genuinely excited to see Augura. Can he carry on? He's really, really good form, and can Martin sort of step it up, because he's going to need to step it up. He's leading the championship, but he's going to need to be stronger than what he's shown, in the start of season to keep that first place. So yeah, there's a lot of stake, and I think we're going to see some great battles. Yeah.
Yeah, 11 races down, 11 to go. I think, this is my opinion on this, this is, as far as the direction of the championship goes, this is a key race. I'm probably going to say that about every single race that's remaining, because it's so tight at the top. But there's so much psychologically to be gained and to won and lost, actually, here this weekend. For Aprilia, who's top dog there, it sounds like there's a bit of needle already starting between Martin and Bezzecchi. But Iagura is there, and Iagura looks like being the strongest, most consistent, least crashing Aprilia rider that we've got at the moment. And so you wouldn't count him out of being a 12th different winner in the last 12 years at this circuit. But then Marc Marquez has had an extra 3 weeks to bring himself back up to a sort of level of fitness that he expects to be. We were told it would be after the summer when we're going to see the best of him, Neil. And so we get to this point of the championship. We don't know which way it's going to go. The smart money points towards Marc Marquez. The outside money maybe looks at an Aprilia and maybe even looks towards Iagura as being someone who's got momentum. But that 3 week break that we had could have killed any momentum that somebody's had. You might lose that little bit of confidence straight away with a fast crash over the weekend. There's a lot to play for, isn't there, this weekend?
Yeah, you're so right. And that phrase you use there, losing confidence over a fast crash, Silverstone bites, and it bites you so quickly. And the crashes you have round there are shocking. You don't really even realise what's happened. You go into turn 2. Is that Farm? Which one's turn 2? I can't remember.
Farm,
Yeah, and it's sketchy. How many crashes have we seen there over the years? Cold tyre crashes, even
left side,
even in
the
the temperatures. It's horrible, isn't it? And there's nothing riders can do. So, but you are so right. This is such an important round. This is the championships concertinaed together with 5 riders all close. It's wide open, and it's who is going to get the momentum. Like I said, Silverstone's an unknown. When we go to Aragon, you put your mortgage on Marc Marquez is going to win both races. It's sort of done. That's his track. This weekend, it's wide open. So that it makes it more of a psychological race. And I genuinely think this, get ready for a real slow drum roll, I think Marc Marquez is going to surprise everybody and win. I think on paper, you look at it, it's definitely an Aprilia track. Faster corners, their aero will work even better. The bike will turn even better. But Marc knows that. Bez won there last year. Marc struggled a little bit. Marc knows that. He will have just put his whole being in the last 3 weeks of all the rehab, all the training, focused on, not I'm just going to go there and take the points. He'll say that in the press conference, by the way. Get ready for it. He'll be like, I know this track doesn't work for me. I'm just going to try and get some points. But I think this is going to be the start of his turning the thumb screws, winning on a track he's not supposed to. A little bit like he did in Brno. Think about Brno. We were like, Brno, I don't know. It probably won't work for him. Obviously, it's a clockwise track, faster corners, should suit the Aprilia. It never happened, did it? He destroyed him. So yeah, I'm going early. Don't take the mic, but I'm going early for a Marc Marquez win.
Sylvain, a statement to be made as far as Neil's concerned. How do you see it then this coming weekend? What would your prediction be for what we're going to see?
Well, first of all, I mean, Neil predicting Marc Marquez winning, we know it's a classic, isn't it?
I've put my mortgage on it already. So Bet365 or whoever, Paddy Power, they're paying out already. Don't you worry.
There's no surprise there, but the truth is that Neil is not wrong, and Marc Marquez is going to be. He spent basically the summer break thinking, if I can turn up there and be strong and beat them there, then we've got Aragon, and then it's race after race. It's a couple of months and the season is done. So yeah, he'll be. This is a pivotal and very important round for Marc Marquez. I think that the Aprilia guys, and specifically Augura, they're going to give him a hard time, and I think they're going to be because they know it's really important as well. And Augura has been so impressive, and I genuinely think, I know the odds are, because he's a newcomer, and he's been consistent this year. He's been so good, and he's sort of like really built up to where he is now in a very controlled way, and mentally, I feel like it's the only guy that Marc Marquez have not really sized up yet. So he doesn't really know what he's capable of, and we see Marc, on podiums or conferences, and he's trying to size him up. He's trying to he's poking him, isn't he, every time, and Augura is sort of not giving anything away. Either he's doing it on purpose or it's just his character, but he's not giving anything away. So it's going to take somebody very special this year, to beat Marc Marquez at the championship. And I feel honestly that there is nobody out there that could beat him except maybe Augura, because we don't know. Because I think the other guys can't. So I'm hoping that Augura is going to carry on his form and will be, a challenge, a real genuine challenge for Marc. Yeah, and I hope it's going to start in Silverstone. Well, carry on in Silverstone.
What's almost certain is we'll get good racing. It just seems to provide it over the years. It has. Yeah, there's not been some that have spread out, but it's the unknown, and that's what we love, don't we? We love going into a racing weekend and not being able to predict. Yeah, you might say, Jorge Martin is your championship leader. I can't say he starts favourite, even though he's on an Aprilia. Or Marco Bezzecchi, sort of track that might suit him and the Aprilia together from what we saw earlier on in the year, but he's just back from injury. Marc Marquez, the Ducatis, is it going to work around there? We don't know. It didn't seem to last year. There are lots of unknowns, and as you say, the momentum with Augura in the championship as well. Have you got anything else to add, chaps, before we say goodbye to everyone? I hope to see them over the weekend on TNT Sports.
No, I was just going to add that last weekend I spent the weekend with Top Rack, which was really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I've spent no time with him. Like, obviously I know Top Rack. I've been introduced to him. I've been in his company 2 or 3 times, but never been in a position where I could chat to him. So I was doing a thing for Alpine Stars.
I saw him outside. On the mix of his bike, didn't it?
And that was genuinely. He'd asked the audience if anyone had got a bike, he could jump on to entertain the crowd, and he did some rolling burnouts and all that lot. But what was interesting, I spent time interviewing him on the stage. Wow, I can't believe how open he is, how normal he is, how honest he was, saying stuff that in a way he probably shouldn't have said. Like the PR savvy. But normally when you're in that situation, you've got the press people around you from the team, so you're not allowed to say certain things. But anyway, he was on his own, and he was just being completely open. He was explaining how difficult it is with that front tyre. Everything we've talked about in commentary and we've speculated, he backed it up literally word for word. Not saying, we know what we're talking about, but it's like it all started, his struggles from not having the lower seat. That's thrown him off miles. He can't get his head around the front. He said your brake marker is set basically in the first practice session. If you try and brake any later than that, it just locks in a straight line, which then you don't stop. He's finding it difficult, the amount of rounds, because he's not getting an endorphin release because he's not getting the results. He can't get excited over scoring points. He can't even get excited about being top Yamaha. So he said the 850s are slow, all of them. He said they feel well weird when you get on them. But it was really nice spending time with the champion, 3 times World Superbike champion that I didn't know at all. But bear in mind, you think you know what his personality is going to be like, and everybody said, he's completely normal and a nice guy. But what an absolute star! And when I saw him with the fans, there's very few riders have got the ability to really engage with the fans and look genuine with it, and he seemed like that. So fascinating. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it does feel like he's someone who connects with people, doesn't he? There's something about Top Rack. He's genuine, and he's got a little bit of flair that people latch onto. He's got something that he does a little bit different. So
he apologised to everyone, saying, "Look, I'm sorry, you've not seen loads of stoppies." He said, "I have no energy to do a stoppie." He said, when I do a stoppie, it's an emotion, and I'm happy, and I'm celebrating, and I'm in a good place. And he said, I have no energy. And he said, he apologised for basically I've not been as active on social media. He said, I have no energy for this because I have no results. I really felt for him because I've been there a little bit, having been high up in superbikes, then low in GP. Sylvain's experienced that a little bit as well. It is hard, and anyway,
and you don't know what to say. Like when you're winning, you can pick your things that you want to say or share or whatever, and it does feel nice, and you do, like in generally in life. Actually, you are different.
You're happy
when you're struggling. It's difficult. One thing I'd like to add is the 2 Wheels for Life, like stuff that's going on this weekend. That's interesting as well. You're part of it as well, Gav, aren't you? On the Friday, so I think Friday afternoon. Friday night after the racing. Is it? I was just looking at it now. Actually, it's at 4. Was it 4:30, 4:40 in the main area? That'd be like an auction, and I think there's some really cool items as well, and that's all going to the 2 Wheels for Life charity. So that's good, and they do that as well on a Saturday, about the same time. 4:40. So. And it goes on for a couple of hours. So if you are at Silverstone this weekend, come and check it out, because there'll be a good atmosphere. There'll be loads of people. And if you feel like bidding on a few riders' items, I'm sure some riders will come around as well.
Yeah, they will. There are some riders coming down, So
boots
and I know
helmets.
People are disappointed that they've got the press conference in London. People are so used to Day of Champions, but they've made a decision collectively to not do Day of Champions in the same way anymore. I know some people are still coming along to the racetrack. But they're trying something different. That's all I can say. They're trying to do the auction on an evening when there's more people around. So they are trying something. So let's hope we all. I know Susie's going to be out there. I think she's coming out on Friday evening too. JT's playing, isn't he, over the weekend as well? So there's lots.
Yeah, is that Saturday night or is that all weekend?
I'm not. I haven't looked, on what the stage is, but yeah, there's usually stuff. People on the Woodlands campsite usually have a good do as well. So yeah, it should be for anyone who does turn up there. Say hi if you do see us around the paddock. We'll be there all weekend from the Thursday. Well, I'm coming up after the press conference on the Thursday, we hope you all have a great British Grand Prix. Neil, enjoy the weekend. I'll see you in the pub on Thursday night.
Team meal. That's going to be quite interesting, isn't it? Who's picking up the bill?
Silence across the board as no one wants to raise their hand for that one. Right, tumbleweed alert. Thank you all for listening to us. As always, contact us at Gas It Out Pod on Instagram and on YouTube. We will be back, as always, following the British Grand Prix with our review of what's hopefully a barnstorming race at Silverstone. But until then, if in doubt, gas it out.